Hello and welcome to the Basketball Show. I am Nathan Stremple and it's been another big week in basketball. We're here, care of our friends Unibet and Alcatel and also the Daily Telegraph and all of their sister publications around the country, and we're right here at throwbackstore.com.au, and I'm here with four-time Olympian Shane the Hammer Hill. Shane, it's good to be back.
Welcome back, mate. I didn't know where you were, and then I just scrolled through social media and photos, and come on, let's go to the photo. Look at you, mate, with the big dog. Federer, yeah. What's going on?
Well, mate, you're a very big deal, four-time Olympian, huge name in basketball, Fed was hosting an event down in Melbourne. Fed was in town, hosting an event for Uniqlo, and people camped out overnight on the street. They slept on the street.
Have we got that other photo?
From 4 p.m, sleeping on the street to get there.
Have we got that other photo?
Which other photo?
The one of you down kissing his ass, mate, and the security trying to get you away from the superstar. How's you?
Mate, I was there working.
Right,
man, Rod's just hanging out.
Well done,
did ask him whether the ponytail would make a return, and he said no. It was gone forever.
Okay.
Had a bit of hair envy. We are going to get straight into the show, though. It's good to be back. A lot happening in basketball. And before we jump into it, we want to jump back a little bit, because earlier in the season, the Perth Wildcats were up and rolling. Big predictions. You like to back yourself when you make a call, and it is time for Under the Hammer.
Well, we've got to have him under the hammer, because we could see it, whatever they were. What were they, 11-2? I don't know. They were up there. They were on top. But you could just sense it, that it wasn't right. Now, it's a bit hard because we don't have transparency on salaries and everything else. We've already called for that. But now I heard that they're saying they don't have enough money to be able to get somebody else. So what that means is that they've gone with 2 imports. This roster that Trevor Gleeson's saying, these are my guys, this is what I'm going with. The same team that loses at home to Cairns in a desperation game when they only scored 15 or 16 points in the last quarter. They've got a whole lot of those guys that are paid big money if they're spending the salary cap on that team, and underachieving, not getting it done.
So, question there, Tariko White, Bryce Cotton's obviously a stud. Tariko White, their second import, is 8th in the league in scoring. That's the highest of any team's second import.
Yep.
Is he the issue?
What percentage does he shoot from 3?
Good question.
I think it's 26%. Off the top of my head, I'll say 26%. And doesn't score in the fourth quarter. That's okay. He's a good sort of second fiddle to Bryce Cotton, but they need more. For me, Angus Brandt hasn't done what he's capable of doing. Since he did his ankle early in the season, good player, needs more. Jesse Wagstaff hasn't done. Mitch Norton's been solid, but still needs to be able to do more. Kay and Bryce Cotton are elite players in the league. 2 elite players, but they need more of their other guys to be able to step up and to be able to get it done. Too many guys shooting 32% and under from 3. They can't make shots when they need it. Bryce Cotton's under the pump. He has to take all of the load. They need more. So,
well, the entire team's under the pump. A lot of pressure in Perth. World record run, and for this week, Perth Wildcats fading when it's counting the end of the season. You are under the hammer.
I went early, didn't I?
It's all right.
All right, going from giving someone a bit of a shove, we're going to throw out a bit of love. It is time for the stroke of the week, and this has been a talking point over the week. Sean Long has really got rolling for New Zealand. Andrew Bogut's been elite his whole career. He's come and ripped apart the NBL, and people started throwing around who is the best big in the league. Sean Long came out himself and said 1v1, I've got anyone covered, bring it on. People started talking about Bogut, how he impacts games. Tell me more about the strokey this week, about these 2 elite bigs.
Can I bring the hammer back out and just smash Long for his tweets? Can I just do that? Because he's a bit more respect for the big fella. Bogut's the best big man in the league, but what I want to stroke this week is the fact of the depth that we've got in the big men. I don't think we've had this sort of conversation in a long while. You talk about those 2, obviously they're elite players, but some of the notes, you go back, you have a look at Daniel Johnson. And again, Bogut struggled with Daniel Johnson because he can bring him out to the 3-point line. Lost those first 2 games. Froling, going to be a superstar. Really think he's going to play in the NBA. Talk about Nate Jawai winding back the clock now. He's been a nightmare for people to be able to defend in the block, and we've still got to talk about the big man who's with a championship in Boone.
And he came out with a big double-double against Cairns, had 15 and 15. You haven't even mentioned Matt Hodgson, who's taken his game to another level, playing a system that suits him in Brisbane. And what I like about proves how much the bigs have improved. A few years ago, Brian Conklin was the MVP of the league as a big, and he didn't even make, what was that, a top 7, top 8 in the discussion?
Yeah, and I mean, he's more of a 4-man than he is
AJ Ogilvy was playing first team All-NBL for a number of years.
He's not in this.
But that's what I'm saying, it's escalated so much.
No doubt. And we talk about the guards, because we've got superstar guards, but I don't reckon we've had as good a crop with our centres, legitimate centres. And the good thing about all those players that we mentioned is there's a lot of variety in there of what their strengths are.
Contrasting styles.
Yeah, so every week they're coming up and we're seeing who's going to do what. And now the coaches have to outthink with their strategies as well about how we're going to play pick and rolls and how we're going to drag people and what are the matchups going to be. And that's the part that I'm enjoying from the NBL this year. Battle of the big men is back, and I don't think it's ever been stronger.
Well, it's great to see. I love you say contrasting styles. I liked hearing Nate Jawai say in a halftime interview that he's got 50 kilos on Matty Hodgson and there's no way him or anyone could stop him. I love the different styles, and I love seeing one of the greatest shooters of all time give the big men a stroke. So the NBL bigs, the 5 men, this week you are getting stroked. Talk about the golden era of bigs in the NBL, just the golden era of basketballers in Australia as we see record numbers playing in the NBA, and it's great to see some of those more so on the fringe. Thon Maker, Ryan Broekhoff really came out and had breakout games we saw earlier this week, but then following that didn't quite break into the rotation as you might expect. Shane, you played in the NBA for a number of years yourself. Talked about your experiences in that sort of space.
Yeah, and I was excited to see Thon Maker. I think he had 18 points, and like in the second half, he was playing such good basketball. Really helped him to a win. Broekhoff the same, got his opportunity, stepped up, did a great job as well, and just proved to themselves, as to the coaches and his teammates and everything else, that they certainly belong there. And but then in the next 3-4 games, DMPs. They've hardly got on. And it's a life of playing in the NBA when you're a fringe guy, particularly coming from overseas. And I had a similar thing. I had 11 points in the last quarter against Washington, hadn't been on for the whole game, came on. The next game, 15 points in the last quarter against Seattle. And then you think in your own mind, you think, yep, this is where it's all going to happen. I'm calling my mates. I'm ready to go. Check this out. This one's going to be a big one. 16 seconds I got in the next game. And then I didn't get on for a handful of games straight. And it's amazing the way it works in America, because it's so different over here, the way we work. And I just hope they've got good people around them. And well, it was 22 years ago for me. Hardly anyone internationally was playing in the league, and I was just way too impatient. So I'm sure those guys have got their heads screwed on a little bit better and a better process.
Give us a bit of insight into that, and also tell us, for the old school NBA fans, was that a Gary Payton, Sean Kemp Seattle that you had 15 against?
Yeah,
Payton didn't come on and lock you up. But also,
5-3.
tell us about that context of what it's like. You don't have much of a community around you. You're on the road constantly in the NBA.
Yeah, and it's just the highs and lows. But again, it was way different back then. We're talking about literally 22, 23 years ago. So there wasn't many international guys, trying to break in or that were actually there. But you just get so high about the excitement when you finally do some good things, and then you get really despondent and down, and you've got the assistant coaches saying stay ready, and after so many games it's like, oh, you're kidding. But you look at guys that have succeeded. Patty Mills went through all of that, longevity now and just being able to play good situation. I'm sure these guys will as well. They just have to be able to stay with it and stay positive.
Yeah, shout out to Paddy Mills too, surpassing Luke Longley's second most NBA games of any Australian ever. So Paddy continuing to get it done in the association. And thoughts and shout outs to Thon Maker and also Ryan Broekhoff to stay with it and keep killing it over there. Counting down to the business end of the season in the NBL, so it's a great time as we're heading towards the playoffs to have a look back pre-season, what our predictions were of the ladder. The ladder starting to take shape as 7 teams still alive going towards the playoffs. Shane, let's have a look back at your pre-season predictions for the ladder. They look pretty reasonable now in hindsight.
Well, I'm pretty happy with them because I didn't think there was too many people that had Cairns at the bottom, so I felt like I was a little bit alone there. The things have changed is the Brisbane Bullets.
It's a different team. We made those Alcatel pre-season predictions and
had three different imports.
A very different looking team.
So a couple of weeks into the season, we said, no, I think this is going to change when old mate came in and our man Patterson. And they're looking good. So I think that's going to be the top 4. For me, I've had a look at all of the matchups, and it's so hard because there's so many double games where top 4 teams are playing each other in these last 8 or 9 games. It's unbelievable the ramifications of the difference between a win and a loss. But I've got Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane and Perth. So 3 of those original 4 that I went with, I'm saying are still going to make it. And I'm still got Sydney and Brisbane to be able to play off.
And you did say Sydney and Melbourne will play in the grand final, and that is looking more and more likely. I'll first one to put my hand up when I got it wrong. I said pre-season I thought this year might be the year Perth missed. With the roster they've got, I didn't think it'd be enough, and I might have gone close. They're starting to fade.
Oh, starting to fade? Starting to fade? Hey, they're starting to fade? Are you kidding?
They got hammered. They may still scrape in there.
Yeah, no, they're going to scrape in. They will. They'll some big games coming, and I tell you one thing about the Perth Wildcats. When you got guys like Damien Martin that have got so much history, so much pride, so much success, he will find a way to be able to get them enough wins to be able to make the playoffs. Now, I don't think they're going to win the first round of the playoffs. I think they'll be straight back out. Brisbane, on the other hand, are a smoky.
They cause some trouble.
Brisbane, you will not want to match up. If you're 1 and 2, you'll be jockeying and you'll be like, geez, I hope we don't play against Brisbane. I'd much rather play against the Perth Wildcats. I don't think anyone's scared to go over there in Perth now, especially after Cairns have gone and got it done. So can't wait for the playoffs, and they are just coming around quicker than I don't know what.
They're coming around quick. It's a very interesting run of the finals. Chinks in every team's armour, but I think they're the 4. So you're saying, and I tend to agree with you, Sydney, Melbourne, Brisbane, Perth will be the top 4 when we get to the end of the NBL season. As we count down to the playoffs, it's time now to jump into the Unibet game preview. I'm just standing by waiting for a poke because I haven't been here for a couple of weeks, but I know I'm due.
I'd forgotten about it. Hold on. Mate, you've been in training. You've been in training. Check out Nathan in training, ready to come back to the show.
Hey, when you're in Cairns, you're putting in work, you're sitting there doing some circuit training.
You're with her, though?
Yeah, and I've poked you more than you've poked me, so I know my record's good. I know I'm going to get another opportunity.
The thing is, what you should have done, if you were practicing for reality, you should have had Wertho just poking you to get ready because it's your time now.
We say reality, Wertho probably pokes 3 times harder than you, so I would have got Wertho's 9-year-old to poke me, Taz or maybe Axel. That would have been more appropriate. Let's get into the real stuff here. The Unibet game preview, NBL games this week, and this one's red hot. Adelaide hosting Perth.
Massive game. And but Ramon Moore injured, so that is going to hurt. And Deng.
And Ramon Moore quite possibly out for the season.
They've got a lot of depth. So I think now Sobey gets back to the point. Harry Froling gets more minutes with Deng out, and he stepped up well last week. I'm going to go with Adelaide 1-10 with not a whole lot of confidence because both these teams, like the rest of the league, have been very up and down.
Yeah, there's been some upsets of late. I'm going to let that one stand. Okay. Illawarra hosting New Zealand.
Well, speaking of up and down, how's these two teams? How good were the Illawarra Hawks against the Sydney Kings? Well done to you guys, because when they come with that sort of mindset and intent and commitment to be able to play basketball, they look good. And then other times you look at them and go, what is this rubble that you're throwing out? And but if they play like that, I think they can beat the New Zealand Breakers, who again look great and are all over the place as well. So I'm going to go with the Illawarra Hawks 1-10. Take that, you Hawkheads.
Hawkheads getting it done. 2 wins in 8 days against the Kings. At home, then on the road. The Kings, speak of them, took a lump against the Hawks. Now they host the Adelaide 36ers.
Well, I've got the new singlet on. The Kings,
very nice. The Harbour
City
jerseys, very good.
At the throwback store.
Supporting Make-A-Wish Foundation.
Look good. No extra larges for me, unfortunately.
Throwback.com.au.
Yeah, so that was pretty good. I reckon that Sydney will bounce back. I reckon they'll get this done. But it'll be interesting to see how Bogut goes against Daniel Johnson. Earlier in the year, he took him to that 3-point line, made it really difficult for him. No doubt they'll go with the same sort of mindset. Adelaide will put some points on the board, and Sydney will not want to go through the dry patches that they have different stages. But I'll go Sydney 1-10.
And Brisbane hosting Cairns.
Wow, Brisbane don't like Cairns at all. But they're going to win this one. They have to. They're too good. It's too important. And you could have said that against the Perth Wildcats, and I think I did. I think I said Perth will win by 25 against Cairns. You weren't here, but I think that's what I said. Brisbane are going to win 11 plus against Cairns, even though Cairns have smashed them twice. Yep. Flip that around.
Perth hosting Melbourne.
I'm going for Melbourne. I think Melbourne had so much experience. How were they the other day against Cairns? Unbelievable. They were down by, what were they down by?
Well, they went on a 21-0 run, end of the fourth quarter and into overtime.
Experience. That's what it is. Experience, confidence, poise. They did it without DJ Kennedy. But when you've got big-time players that can put the ball in the hole, particularly Casper Ware that creates so well, he's knocking down threes. They've just got that belief. Dave Barlow playing his best ever basketball. They will go over because they well and truly got screwed last time they played in Perth. And they will go over there for a little bit of redemption. They will look the Perth crowd in the eye and say, yep, we're back to be able to take one. And I'm saying Melbourne 11 plus.
I'm going to let that one slide because I think DJ Kennedy will be back. So let's move on to Cairns hosting New Zealand.
Oh, this is tough. Cairns are playing well. They look good. You know how much I love Trimble. Love him. Unbelievable last week.
What a ridiculous stat line on the weekend.
Ridiculous.
13 of 17 from the three-point line. Mum in the crowd.
I'm going for New Zealand. New Zealand 1-10 against Cairns with no confidence at all.
Well, I'm going to challenge on that one. Okay. I'm going to go
Good
Cairns,
challenge.
just finding a way to win at home
challenge.
in front of the home crowd.
I like it.
New Zealand, big trip up there after being in Illawarra. So I'm going to go for the challenge on that one. WNBL getting down to the business end. Bendigo Spirit hosting the Red Hot Championship favourite Canberra Capitals.
Just give Canberra the title now.
Yeah.
Just give them the championship. I
Very
watched
good.
them play the other day. Their depth is unbelievable. Has there been a better team that's been assembled 1 through 8?
Especially considering, very sadly, Christy Wallace came back and hurt her knee again. Like, imagine if she's in that group. Super talented unit. Canberra, very good.
Yeah, it's hard luck for Christy. Great kid, unbelievable talent. But yeah, give them the championship now. They'll smash Bendigo if they're trying in this one.
NBA time. Jazz hosting the Cavs Saturday afternoon our time.
Let's go Jazz 11 plus. Joey Ingles feeling good about himself. They're looking good. 11 plus.
Yeah, I like it. Raptors hosting the Grizzlies Sunday morning our time.
11 plus. The Raptors. They've poked themselves in the eye a little bit lately. Dropped a couple that you wouldn't expect them to lose. Double overtime win today or yesterday, I think it was. But Raptors too good. That 11 plus.
Monday morning our time, the Spurs, we mentioned earlier, Paddy Mills, second all-time games played by an Australian in the NBA. They host the Clippers.
They are starting to look so much better, San Antonio Spurs. The other day, watching the game against OKC, they made their first 14 straight threes. 14 out of 14. I couldn't believe what I was looking at. It was amazing. They got away with a win over OKC. I think they'll be too good for the Clippers, although the Clippers are playing pretty good basketball as well.
And just the freakish young
1 to
talent
10.
in this last one. Sorry, yes, 1 to 10. Tuesday morning our time, and look at the young guys on display, the talent. The Bucks tasting on the Mavs. I love the once-in-a-generation talent Luka Doncic is.
Special. But he's playing against a Greek freak, mate. They're
Who is
losing
also
11. They're
very
losing
impressive.
11 plus. And I like Dallas. I like what they're doing. Berea, I think he's done his Achilles. No good. We hate that.
Yeah.
Hate injuries for anybody.
Welcome to the club,
So
JJ.
he's out. That might hurt him a little bit off the bench. But they are way too good. The Bucks 11 plus. Oh, the Greek freak.
Bucks 11 plus. Did you see Doncic on the game winner the other day?
Oh, yeah.
From the corner, fading out of bounds.
Watching him hit 7 points in the last minute of a close game the other day. He's a freak.
Hey, many talented people to watch in the NBA. That is your Unibet game preview. Shane Heals now on the clock for the hottest 5 issues in basketball. It's time for the starting 5. Get your clock ready, Shane, because I've been away for a couple of weeks. I want to make sure we hit you with the big ones. And let's start off on a real positive. A young kid that just announced himself on the weekend. Talk to me about Emmett Nah.
Point guard. How good is he? I love him. So many assists. His assist-to-turnover ratio is off the charts. We've questioned the fact that he needs to be able to score more points, or at least come off on balls to be able to pull up, hit the shot, be able to finish around the rim, because teams are starting to understand what he does and then start to stunt and get back so he can't create the assist. On the weekend, he said, don't worry about that. I can score as well. He made a couple of jump shots. If he improves his jump shot, he could be one of the very, very good point guards Australia's produced.
Yeah, making buckets at a high clip. Emmett Nah, welcome to the NBL. Moving on to a team that some people said they wouldn't win another game all season. Cairns very much playing spoiler, taking down Perth in Perth.
We here said they will win more games. We just didn't know who they would be. That was the thing. But they've done well. And hats off to Mike Kelly for being able to keep this group together. We gave him the hard love, didn't we? We had to give him the hard love, but it was unbelievable what he was doing. 13 for 17 threes over the weekend combined is just off the charts. He had his mum there for the home game. You mentioned it before. If you're the Cairns Taipans, you are trying to sign him now for next year, and you are trying to sign mum to get back
Look at the
in an
Cairns
apartment as well.
holiday in far north Queensland.
What's it cost to rent an apartment up there? Like $75 a week or something, isn't it? Come on, get mum out here. Good to go.
Trimble, very good. High score ever by a Taipan in Perth, and then high score for the season with 42. In a loss, though. Melbourne United, if you don't mind coming back from way down. Moving on to someone who, over his career, has been elite, but he's gone missing. He's not the same guy this year. Tell me about Corey Webster.
Well, Corey Webster, before we called the game on the weekend, against the Kings this year, he was 4 from 32 from the field and 1 from 15 from threes against the Sydney Kings. And this is a guy that has been elite. I still think he can be, but there's obviously something wrong in that, the way the whole thing's put together, his role, his confidence or whatever, because he can do anything. We've seen him do it at the World Cup. Elite scorer of the World Cup. He's done it at Summer Leagues.
Against NBA teams.
Yeah, he's legit. But right now, Jared Weeks is just playing so much better than both him and Shea Illy. So, something's going wrong there.
Now, this is a big issue. It's not necessarily basketball related, but there's been 4 donuts on the desk and you have not had a bite all show, which is amazing for me. But tell me, why are they there? They don't even have a hole in the middle.
Well,
are they just your snack, or is someone...
I'll start off with, I'm on a diet, 2019. As you can see, I've slimmed down pretty much straight away. So with the diet, I've gone and got some donuts, and I thought I'll go with the little ones and then just feed you guys out some of these other donuts because I'm throwing assists. But Daniel Pickett, can you believe that? 0 from 6. I never thought that we'd be eating a donut for Kickett. One of the best shooters we've seen of all time in his position. 0 from 6. You called the game, mate. What were you watching? 2 out of 14 between him and Ware as well. They need some help.
Moving on, finally, as you munch away on a donut, this is not a hot issue in basketball. This is a hot issue just around the world. As you're munching your donut, you're talking about a diet for 2019. Obviously, nutrition is a big part of that. Put out a picture of you eating a dim sim in a wrap.
A couple of
dim sims.
On a Saturday sometimes I
surprised didn't make it 3. But it caused a lot of attention.
I'm like, babe, can we get a couple of steamed dimmies? So she whacks them in. How many you want? I normally have 4 or 5. A couple in a wrap, and then I knock off the other 3. So I put it on. Bit of barbecue sauce, soy sauce in the bowl. I didn't realise how many people. Some people were tweeting me saying "shame heel" with an M. Some people got very aggressive about it. Other people idolised it. I had someone from overseas with 500,000 followers that got very excited about it as well.
I like that.
Do you like them? Do you like
that they called you shame heel before they knew that you had barbecue sauce on them and soy sauce in the bowl.
Yeah, well, they didn't mix them together.
Number.
Yeah, they didn't mix them together. But, mate, surely everyone likes a steamed dimmy in a wrap. I wrap everything up. Roast, whatever, doesn't matter.
Let's throw the starting 5 out to the people at home. Best snack watching basketball, the chip sandwich, got to mention. The packet of chips in a sandwich. What?
Twisty in a roll when we were growing up at school. Twisties in there.
Yeah, the elite athlete diet. What do you watch? What's your favourite food? Favourite snack when you're watching sports, when you're watching a game of hoops? While the hammer munches away in a donut.
Send us a photo.
Yeah, send it in. We'd like to see it. If you're a bit left field,
I think we went over.
Good old shame. That's okay. We're under the clock. We didn't quite get there, but that is the starting 5 for this week. We appreciate the support of our friends at Alcatel here. They are the best low-price phones going around. A sharp unit for what you pay for them is nothing, but for what you pay for them right here is even better. Because we give 1 away a week, Shane.
Mate, you should see the kids' faces when you give it to them. They are wrapped. And I tell you, when my kids were 12 or something, I wish someone was giving me an Alcatel for the kids. But check out the highlight. And we want these highlights coming through each week. So get aggressive. Tell your friends. Tell everyone at the association or whatever. We want great highlights just like this coming in, week out.
So that's the Alcatel Superstar. It's so easy. Send us in your clips of hooping out. Jamie Soward picked up one last week. Our tech guru, Duro Sen, says these phones, for what you pay for them, is ridiculous. And this guy knows his tech. Get your hands on the Alcatel.
I'm throwing out assists, mate. I'm throwing out donuts. I'm throwing out phones.
You might get a phone yourself. Mate. No you could be an Alcatel Superstar.
I've already got one, mate. That's how I roll.
No turnovers. So make sure you send in your clips and you could be our Alcatel Superstar. Well, that is all we got time for this week. It's time to, as you would say, Shane, wrap it up like a couple of dimmies.
Good to have you back, mate. Big thanks to Jamie Soward last week. Great feedback about his little cameo effort
and
too.
Steve, Mr. Magic Carfino. Don't think I'm not watching. I'm just worried I might lose my job if I'm not careful. Thank you for keeping the seat warm, guys, while I'm gone. Thank you to our friends at Unibet. Thank you to the Daily Telegraph and all their sister publications. And thank you to Alcatel, the finest low-price tech going around and right here at the throwbackstore.com.au every week. Shane, another big week coming up in basketball.
I cannot wait. So many pressure games of top 4 teams going head-to-head. And you still think the Illawarra Hawks and New Zealand can make it living in that dreamland, but let's see.
Enough weird things have happened that I'm not about to lock anything in just yet. Plenty to watch, plenty to stay tuned for in hoops. Thank you for watching. Make sure you like, share, follow. We appreciate your support, and we'll see you again next week on The Basketball Show.